Hello, welcome to this DCS F-A-18C tutorial. In this video, I will cover laser-guided munitions and bombing both stationary and moving targets with those munitions. So to begin, I've put under pylons 8, 7, 3, and 2 bombs, 2 GBU-12 500-pound laser-guided bombs. Laser-guided bombs are very similar to what we've already covered with the dumb bombs. You'll be provided a fly queue, you fly the line, drop your bomb. The only two differences are your diamond placement and the fact that you need to fire a laser in order to guide the bomb to its target. So to get started, let's set up our bombs. So I'll come down to our stores page, air to ground. We can see I have two 82 Mark 82 laser guideds on every pylon. And at the top we have 82 LG, so I'll click that. On this page, it's very similar to what you saw with the dumb bombs. We will choose mode, auto, for CCRP. And our E-fuse, either instant or delayed. I'll do instant for this example. At the bottom, we see a new option called code. You'll notice every pylon has 4 X's. In this case, the pylon we have selected is boxed. This represents the laser code we have assigned to each bomb. So that's what we'll do with this code option. So we click code, and when we click code, we'll see code pop up on our UFC. You can click code here, so it has the colon to the left of it, just like you would with your autopilots. And then you can punch in your laser code. If you're a member of the Damned, your laser code is predefined for you based on your board number. If you're not a member of the Damned, you can put in whatever you like here. The default is 1688, but my code is 1683. So I'll go ahead and put that in. Enter. And now we'll see that the code for the pylon we have selected updates. To select the next one, I will step. The next pylon is selected, and then I'll just type in the code. And I'll do that for every single pylon. So step, code, step, code. Alrighty, and now all of our bombs are set up. We also have the option to drop them more than one at a time, just like with the dumb bombs. So you can utilize the UFC option for that. But today I'll just be going one at a time. Alright, now our codes are set up for our bombs. Now I need to set up the laser code for our targeting pod. Down in our targeting pod, you will see a button called UFC, and on that button it says LST 1688 and LTDR 1688. LST is your laser search track, which is utilized for buddy lasing, looking for someone else's laser code. And LTDR is laser target designator, and that is the code you are firing off of your targeting pod. To set the code, I will select UFC, and then look at my UFC, and you'll see only one of those options is here, LST. That is because to set the LTDR, laser target designator code, we need to be in the air. So we'll do that once we get up, but I'll set the LST now while I'm on the ground. Alrighty, let's get in the air, and then I'll show you how to set your LTDR code. Alright, gears up, so I will go to air to ground mode, and I will arm my plane. Once those steps have been completed, I can move to my right hip, and there's a switch called LTDR. This LTDR switch we will move to the arm position. Now that it is armed, we will see a flashing code on our HUD. The laser code for our bomb is going to be flashing, and the LTDR down here is flashing. This is our plane warning us that our laser code on our pod does not match the code on our bombs. So let's go ahead and fix that. I will select UFC, and now I have the option to set the LTD, laser target designator. Now I have set the code, the flashing has gone away, and our laser code matches the code that our bomb is looking for. At this point, we're all set up to be able to drop the bomb on the target. Now, one thing you might notice, when we flip this switch to the arm position, we have a new option on our UFC called Trig. If we have it in the safe position, the option is no longer there. So every time you drop a bomb, your laser target designator switch is going to reset itself to the safe position when the bomb impacts. You'll need to come back down, put this back to the arm position, and then click the Trig button so it is boxed. I'll say that again. After every single bomb you drop, say I dropped the bomb right now, it hit a target and exploded, this switch would reset itself to the safe position. We will put it to the arm position, box Trig, and now we are ready to drop another bomb. Just like dumb bombs, this is one pass, one target, because we have to laze the target all the way up until the point it impacts. We cannot engage multiple targets at once as we could with the GPS guided bombs. This trig option that we boxed allows us to fire our laser with our trigger. So if I pull my trigger, you will see the laser arm change to target. So now if I have trigger boxed and I pull my trigger, you'll see a laser arm change to LTDR and flash. That is telling me I'm firing my laser. You will also see LTDR on your targeting pod, and your targeting cursor starts to flash. The laser arm shows up when we move our laser target designator to the arm position, but it's in safe, it's not there. So you can utilize info like that to make sure that you are all set up. Always remember to rebox trig, that you are all set up to drop a bomb on a target. Alrighty, now what does that look like in practice? I will go ahead and turn around, select a target, and then walk you through it. As I said earlier, dropping a laser-guided bomb is just like dropping a dumb bomb, except for the fact that you need to laser target. So at 5 seconds, just like the dumb bomb, we're going to hold our weapon release button, and then as soon as our bomb is dropped, we're going to hold our trigger to fire our laser. You do have the option to let the plane automatically fire the laser for you, but it will do that after a period of time, and then it will start firing the laser. I prefer personally to fire my laser as soon as it comes off the plane, so it's guided the entire way, and not just during the end phase of its travel to make it a bit more accurate. All right, let's start looking for a target. All right, there's a target. So instead of putting the diamond on the base of the target, because as you saw with GPS or dumb bombs, we were firing on a ground position that the target was on top of. Because we're guiding the bomb onto the target, we're actually going to put the diamond on the target so we can fire our laser directly at it and have the bomb track it in. So again, as I come in, I'm just going to correct and make sure my diamond is where I want it to be. And I'll fly the line just like a dumb bomb. At this point, I'll do a check, make sure my laser is armed. It is. Trigger is boxed. My diamond is where I want it to be. And just keep doing it exactly as you would with a dumb bomb. A nice thing about laser guideds, because they are guided, instead of being directly on the line, I can be off of it a little bit, even so much as that far off the line, and the bomb should still hit the target. Um, so you have a bit more leeway, and it's a bit easier to do. All right, so I have 10 to release. I'm going to make sure I'm as close to the line as I can be. Hold weapon release, same as the dumb bomb. Weapon drop, and I'm going to hold my trigger to fire my laser. I'll come down here and I see my diamond has shifted a bit, so I'll correct it. Because I'm firing the laser, I can do that for minor adjustments, and the bomb will just follow the laser to wherever the diamond is pointing. You see this counter? That's what I was talking about, the plane automatically firing a laser. When that counter goes away, that's when the plane would fire the laser itself. So you saw that that was a solid, I don't know, 10-15 seconds of free fall without guidance. I prefer to guide it the whole way to make it pinpoint accurate, just like that. All right, I'll turn around and demonstrate that one more time for you. Because the bomb hit, the switch set itself to safe, arm it, box trig. I see laser arm at the top of my screen. I verified trig is boxed, and I'm all set to drop another bomb. Keep in mind, you need to laze the target the entire time the bomb is in free fall. So you want to do everything in your power to make sure you do not lose track of that target or have your pod be blocked by your plane, terrain, clouds, all of that good stuff, because clouds can block your pod and your laser. All right, I'll look for something else. All right, that target looks good. Now instead, this time I'll fly off of the line to show you that the bomb can still hit even if we're not on it. Five to release, I'm holding my weapon's release button. Bomb away, and I'm firing my laser. So you can see it would have taken 20 seconds for the plane to start firing its own laser, but I want to guide it the whole way, so we're pulling the trigger to fire our laser, because we have the trig option boxed. As I fly over, I'm going to make sure my diamond is right where I want it to be. And we have our estimated time to impact. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but it'll be close enough. And shack the target. Switch has reset itself, arm it again, and rebox trigger. Alrighty, that's fine and dandy for stationary targets, but how do we track a moving target? Well, if you recall, for all of our examples so far, we have always utilized the diamond on our targeting pod. I mentioned briefly before, if you press your sensor control switch in the direction of the display your targeting pod is on, in this case down, because our targeting pod is on the bottom screen, it will cycle between modes. I'll press down again. These have the diamond, you have the rectangle, and the two vertical lines. The diamond is point mode, so it'll do a point track. The rectangles are an area track mode, which 99% of the time won't be used. And the two lines are a moving target track mode. So if I put this diamond over a target and then cycled it to the moving target track mode, I am no longer able to move the targeting pod cursor because it is locked to whatever heat signature contrast that your targeting pod sees. So it's essentially fixed in that position. If that was a vehicle and it was moving, it would now be locked to that vehicle and follow it. I'll go ahead and turn around and then show you how that works on a vehicle. And then after that, I'll go and show you how it works on a vehicle that's actually moving. You can faintly see the smoke from the last targets I blew up. So I know I generally need to be looking out there. So I'll go ahead and put my diamond over there and look for a target. Already there's a vehicle. So I'm going to put my diamond over the vehicle and then sensor control switch in the direction of the display the pod is on. So in this case, I'll sensor control switch down, sensor control switch down again. And now we see the two vertical lines, and they're actually positioned on either side of the target. And that's telling us that the plane has recognized that heat source as a target that we want to fire on. This is my preferred method even for stationary targets with the laser, because you'll see as we move over the target, those lines will constantly adjust to be targeting the vehicle, and I won't have to adjust the diamond as I fly over it. All right, 28 seconds to release. I'll speed up a little bit to make that go faster. And we'll see the boxes are constantly adjusting to lock the heat source that it's detecting. This works based on the contrast of the display and the difference between the target and its background. All right, 3 to release, 2, 1, released, pulling my trigger to fire my laser. And we'll see they're flashing, and the lines actually compensate for any movement, and they show you that the plane has the heat source locked. You can see on our targeting pod as well, time to impact, about 4 seconds. The lines are constantly adjusting to keep the target lased. And shack. Nice and easy. All right, I'm going to go and fly over to a convoy that we have driving around on our training server. And I'll show you what it looks like for targets that are actually moving. I'll pause it here and be back with you in just 1 second. Alrighty, so I'm just coming up on the convoy, and there's one thing I want to mention before I get to actually showing you how to fire on the moving target. If we are flying along and our targets are moving left to right with us, and we fire the bomb in a perpendicular manner, our bomb will have to correct more in order to hit the targets and might be a little less accurate. So if your targets are moving in this direction, like these are, you either want to be coming against their direction of travel or with their direction of travel. So the bomb only has to correct forward and backward rather than left and right. It'll try and make it a little bit more accurate. All right, so there's the convoy right below us. I'll go ahead and throw my diamond down there and then look for the targets. Now, as I said, it works on the heat source, so I can either put my diamond over it and quickly cycle to the appropriate mode. And you see it's a little hard to pick it up, or I can put it in front of the target, and when it drives through, it'll pick up the heat signature, and you can see that it's tracking it all along. Now I'll turn around to go for an attack run, but you'll see that if my pod loses view of the target, it's possible that it will no longer be tracking it and I'll have to reacquire it. Sometimes it'll continue tracking it, other times it won't. Yep, there you can see it's still tracking it, but sometimes you just need to be aware that if you lose view for too long, it will no longer be tracking. Also, you see the trees are getting in the way. Sometimes that can also ruin the lock it has on the target. So you generally want an unobstructed view. Yet another reason that we want to go in the direction of the travel of the vehicles to prevent obstructions, in addition to having the bomb have to correct less. Alright, laser's armed, trig is boxed. I still have my lock. And I'm going to fly the line just like before. 5 to release, 4, 3, 2, 1, weapon release, firing my laser. And then remember, you want to make sure that you do not lose view of the target or have your laser obstructed by your plane or another object. Boom. Now it's still in moving target track, so I cannot move my cursor. I need to put it back to the diamond, and I can go look for another target. That's great if you can see your target and you can utilize the helmet to get your target locked. But what if you're coming in from a distance and you don't know exactly where they are or if you'll be able to lock them up? Well, here's where we can utilize our air-to-ground radar, specifically our moving target radar. So while we're in air-to-ground mode, I'll come over on my right display. You go to your attack menu. And on the left, you see attack radar. We'll click that. In the upper left, we will see AGR, air-to-ground radar. We'll cover that in a later video, but we can click that button. Well, first make sure you unlock your target. So I'll go back to velocity vector slave mode. There we go. See, it says map. I can click this, and now it's in ground moving target mode, GMT. So now our plane will use its radar to detect any moving ground targets in front of us. Turn that down. That was the fleet doing fleet things. So you see this generally has a smaller range, 5, 10, 15, 20, or 40 miles. I'll keep this at, let's say 20 miles as I'm coming in. And they're somewhere back there behind me. I don't know exactly where. So I'll utilize my ground moving target radar to find the moving ground targets. Remember, you can only do this without anything locked, so make sure you're in velocity vector slave mode. And then I will make my right display my sensor of interest, the soy. Put my cursor over one of these bricks, because these are actually the ground moving targets that it has recognized. And I will press my sensor control switch in the direction of the display that our ground moving target radar is on. In this case, I will press sensor control switch right. And now it has locked one of the ground targets, and it gives a bearing and a distance. Or a speed, rather. So now we can see if we make our targeting pod sensor of interest, it would put it right over the target area, and it lets us move it and then lock it up as we would before. It's not going to automatically moving target track your target. Just put your targeting pod in the area of the moving targets. So I'll quickly do that again. Velocity vector slave, right, hover over a target, right again. And hey, what do you know? It did track it this time. Not always guaranteed, so you may want to do it the old-fashioned way once it's on a target, move it over it, and then moving target mode. All right, 9 to release. Oh, I never hold my weapon release. I never armed my laser, so I'll quickly do that as the bomb's falling and fire my laser. See, I never did my check. I was too busy trying to talk. I never saw the laser arm up here. So if you're quick enough, even after you drop your bomb, you can go ahead and arm it and get it ready to go. We'll see if it hits. There we go. Easy as that. All right, that's everything you need to know for utilizing your laser-guided bombs and firing on both stationary and moving targets. Laser-guided bombs are always good to have in your back pocket, even for vehicles you think are stationary, because sometimes if bombs start dropping around them, they might start moving. And that can lead to bombs like your GPS guidance being inaccurate because they'll move out of the way. So you can always use the laser guidance on vehicles, even if they're stationary. Thanks for watching.